What's up, everyone? Tell me, have you heard of Labubu? It's kind of the new fad going on right now. It just almost seems like it came out of nowhere. Pretty much, they're creepy, somewhat maybe cute looking dolls that have shark teeth and almost looks like bunny ears. Uh, I guess you can pretty much thank a lot of celebrities for making it the new in thing because it just seems to have exploded. Basically, I call it the new Beanie Babies, or if you're old enough, Cabbage Patch Dolls. Some of my friends think they're cute. Some other people that I know think they are creepy. Uh, what are your opinions? Have any of you picked up any of these Labubu dolls? Like I said, as far as I know, they were at first anyway hard to pick up. The only places that I've seen that you could pick up official Labubus are at Pop Mart. There are knockoffs already. As far as I know, those are called Lafufus. I'm not sure exactly what all you need to be able to tell what an authentic Labubu is. I think there's something on the back and maybe on the foot. But I was with some friends and we were discussing this. And, I just thought for fun, well, why not start drawing them, combine it with another brand? And I decided to combine them with Pokemon. Since the friends that I was hanging around with at the time, we kind of play Pokemon Go, and they're into Pokemon a lot, and they liked the idea that I would, incorporate Pokemon. So this first drawing that I'm doing is incorporating a Labubu, a brown Labubu, with Pikachu. Basically, it's wearing a Pikachu onesie or pajama, whichever you like to call it. But as for the mythology of these Labubus, I don't know. I think they're somewhat like little demons or little gremlins. Not for sure. I might have to do a little bit of investigation in that. But these drawings that I'm working on, I am using Photoshop, and I have a tablet that I'm drawing this on. It's a little Surface tablet, and I like using Photoshop. It's the only app that I really know. So here's Pika Bubumon. So let's get ready for the next one. Which Pokemon is your favorite? Do you have one? Do you collect Pokemon? Of course, let me know in the comments. If you've guessed it, this one is going to combine Labubu with Bulbasaur. Pretty much, the Bulbasaur is a favorite of a friend of mine. Kind of the one that helped come up with the idea of combining Labubu with Pokemon. So, yeah, I thought I'd do this kind of for him. I do have a favorite. I'll have to let you know later. So stick around to find out which one my favorite is. But if you're watching and you digitally draw, what programs do you use? I know some people like Procreate, and there are a few others. I kind of thought about looking into some of them, but I'm not quite for sure yet. I've used Photoshop ever since my senior year in college, and if you must know, that was a long, long time ago. Basically, mid to late 90s. That's when I was finishing up college. But I've always kind of stuck with Photoshop. It was vastly different than what it is now. There's just so much you can do with it now. But I am hearing some rumors that Adobe will be raising their prices again and modifying what you can do with their applications. Hopefully it's not quite true, but we'll just have to wait and see as it comes out. But yeah, with this one, I kind of wanted to do another somewhat jumping pose, and since Bulbasaur is basically on all fours, that's what I had this Labubu doing. And I decided to go kind of pink, almost very close to being the complement, even though Bulbasaur is more of a light blue. But since doing the background with a lot of greens, I think it helps pop out the figure a little bit more. But this was fun, and I do like adding some different textures. I kind of went for more of a ground on this one, but let me know what you think. Is Bulbasaur one of your favorites? If you like this one, give it a thumbs up, let me know. But pretty much just signing this one, and it's basically just about done. So here's Bulbubumon. So I forgot to mention it in the previous drawing, but that drawing, including this one, was done on my Cintiq drawing tablet. My Surface tablet that I did the Pika-Bubumon drawing on pretty much was running out of storage space on the hard drive, which basically would make Photoshop crash. So I was pretty much in the process of upgrading that Surface with a bigger hard drive, so to speak. So I had to pretty much reconfigure my Cintiq drawing tablet. I hadn't used it in a long time, and I got the no touchscreen version. Had I known in hindsight, especially when I use my Surface tablet, touchscreen is definitely a lot more friendly and lets me do what I need to do. To try to rotate this, my rotate button on my Cintiq wasn't working, so I just kind of had to work with it as is. But as you can see, I am doing a blue gradient Labubu wearing a Charmander onesie, and I decided to kind of flip it horizontally since why not, just have it looking different directions. I kind of wanted to somewhat look like it was chasing its tail. I don't think I quite managed to get that done correctly, especially since this appears to be looking more up and away instead of looking at its tail. But I still like the drawing and was still trying to figure out some of the settings on the program that I use to record my drawings. So this guy looks a little bit smushed in a way, but after looking at it and comparing it with the other drawing, I think it looked better somewhat smushed, since they are a little more smaller, rounder, and a little bit kind of fatter. But these are fun to do. I'm using a grass type texture for the ground, kind of trying to decide how I'm going to do it. But I'll tell you this, Charmander is my favorite Pokemon. I just really like dragons and all the various evolutions Charmander goes into, especially Charizard and the different mega evolutions Charizard can do. That's why it's pretty much my favorite. So I like Charmander a lot. I guess it's a good thing that the grass is really low. It's not high. That way the tail won't catch the grass on fire. But this was a fun one to do. And I present to you Labubu. Let me know if you like this one. But on to the next one. Well, I'm sure you can tell which Pokemon I used for this one. And speaking of a Pokemon that has a lot of different evolutions, it is Eevee. And you can't tell me Eevee isn't a cute one. I like Eevee, especially some of the other ones that it can evolve into. Which evolved Eevee is your favorite? Is it Umbreon, Sylveon, Espeon, Jolteon, Leafeon? There's a few others. Let me know which evolution that you like. But as you can tell, just switched into a color version. Somehow I forgot to hit record when I was laying down the flats. But right now, you can tell that I used a different gradient on the Labubu. And I'm just adding the different values in both the Labubu and the Eevee onesie. Again, this was a fun drawing to do. The colors are somewhat limited, but I'll add a few other colors when I get started with the background that you'll see now. I think some of the greens that I'm using definitely helps the Labubu Eevee pop out a little bit more. Here I use different brush tools and grass textures to work on the background. I think it came out pretty well. If you have any questions on how I do my drawings using Photoshop, let me know. If you want me to do a little summer tutorial or more in depth of how I go about doing some of my drawings and coloring it in, you just let me know in the comments down below and I'll be more than happy to do one. But pretty much I think this drawing is just about done. So I'm going to introduce you to Labubu. And before the video is over, at the end I will have longer images of each drawing so you can take a look at them better. So here's the last drawing. Can you tell which Pokemon I used? Let me know in the comments down below before any details gives it away. If you guessed Squirtle, then you must have really paid attention to the thumbnail that I used for this video. But yeah, this is going to be the last drawing of this series for now, of using Labubu, crossing him with Pokemon. I might do more later on down the line, not exactly for sure. But as I'm doing, more of these, they definitely became a little bit easier. It didn't quite take as long, but I still felt like I needed to challenge myself. And the thing that I challenged myself with in this one was more the background, which I'll get more into that here in just a little bit. But as you can see, while I'm doing the outline now, I used a Pokeball for the center of the picture, or the center of the surfboard, sorry. But I kind of decided to change my mind, and I made the whole surfboard the Pokeball. And I think it looks better this way, because I couldn't quite think of what color I wanted the surfboard to be. So just turning it into a Pokeball solved that problem. Now on this one, I kind of went with a gradient of more of an orangey yellow and green. I think it worked out, even though it looks more like some kind of a greenish Labubu. I did use a little bit of an orangey yellow with the gradient. So if you've made it this far in the video, comment down below your favorite color. That way, if you do that, I know that you've made it at least this far. I know it's a little bit longer than some of the videos that I've posted, but recently some of my other videos have kind of become a little bit longer just because I'm putting more content in there. But now just kind of working on adding the different values, the light and darks, getting ready to start the background pretty soon. And as you'll see, and one of the things that did trip me up here, which is going to come up here very shortly, is when I'm doing the shadow under the character. I had some different layers when I was doing the Pokeball, so I kind of had to figure out a workaround, and just doing it in a couple of layers solved that little issue. But overall, this was a fun drawing to do. But now for the background. I have never until this drawing done a wave digitally. So I did look up some references, and it is okay to look up references. There's no rule that says it's a bad thing if you use references. It's actually a good thing. But this was kind of the first time I've done a digital wave using different textures, and I think it worked out. I liked how it turned out. Different textures for part of the wave and the area where the surfboard is cutting through the water. Also, this drawing was done on the Surface tablet. I already had the SSD card upgraded. Shout out to Rye, my friend who did it. He was able to get it done. He had some little trouble, but he was successful in the end. But pretty much this is it for this drawing. So I present to you Square Bubumon. Enjoy the drawings. Hope you liked the video. Give it a like and share it out. Simo says, be awesome to one another and get to creating.